I'm expecting the leader to be just so clean and so tight and so pristine, like baby Jesus himself kissed you.
Yeah,
you know,
right,
that's what I'm
right.
expecting.
Yes.
And you just said, oh man, I mean, I have my stuff. And then you got into the other stuff because that's what a leader does. You deflect, you address, yes, me, and then you go on and you cultivate, you grow that. But what about you? What is it, some of the stuff you struggle with?
So in my ministry, that is one thing, because of what you just said, you know, especially as leaders, one of our common reaction is to deflect. Part of my philosophy is, you know, how can I ask you to share yourself if I'm not willing to share me? And so I try, like, as a minister, to be a vulnerable person. And, you know, how well that comes off or how successful I am, you know, who can say? But I am. So I've been married for 21 years. And a great marriage. We've got 2 kids, 17 and 15-year-old boys.
You're almost free. I'm there too. I'm happy.
Know, right?
I'm getting happy.
Yeah. A funny story about that. My oldest son, a couple of years ago, you know, he was, I don't know what he was doing at the time, but, you know, I was disciplining him and telling him he shouldn't do that. And he looked over at his mom and he said, 2 more years. 2 more years. And I said, 2 more years you, 2 more years me. You think you're the one that's going to be free? Yeah. I can't wait.
Oh, yeah,
so one of the things that is a stress for me right now is our children. You know, I put a lot of, you know, I mean, we might talk about this later. I feel a lot of weight as a father, responsibility to be a male leader, especially in a culture where we have so many absentee fathers. Yeah. And I think, you know, I don't know if it's you, Robo, or you, Jeff, that one of the things that we struggle with, I think it was you, Robo, maybe before we started recording, one of the things that we struggle with as males is like a rite of passage or a transition into manhood, which is not an age. You know, you don't get papers that say, congratulations, you're a man now. But it's a decision on a way of living. So I feel a lot of personal responsibility in teaching my boys, you know, how to live as men and how to treat other people. And when you factor into like my belief system as a Christian, you know, I take what I learn in the Bible and a lot of responsibility to impart that to them and hope that they will take it up and live by it and cherish it and, you know, grow in that direction. So probably number one, like for me, struggle as a man right now is being a good father. So I talk about that a lot with my friends and my circle. Ministry wise, you're right, man. You come in and there's always preconceived notions like, what's a preacher need to look like? How's a preacher need to behave? So I love my church family. I say that. Like, I love my church family, and we're people, you know. These people got this going on. They got that going on. I got this going on. We're people. So, but I love them. But you know, some of them are going to be like, your beard's too long, or you need to shave that beard, or I didn't like you said this, or you need to say that and this, and you need to wear a suit every Sunday, or man, I really like when you wear a collared shirt and, you know, you're not in a suit because then we feel more comfortable.
You need to be doing.
Oh, yeah.
You lose your identity almost.
You know, it's a lot. I'd assume it's any kind of leader in any kind of group of people, you know, you're always going to have opinions because people are people, right? And so they're going to have this opinion. They're going to have that opinion. Some of that weight is that it's always on you, you know, even you love these people and they love you. You know, you've got, and part of the struggle is that they're pull in different directions. You know, I'd use little examples like, oh, I love your long beard. No, you need a clean shaved face. You know, you can't have both of those things, you know, wear a suit every Sunday, or, you know, maybe dress down a little bit. That way if people come in, they feel more comfortable, like you're not in priestly robes, you know, right?
Yeah. My Catholic faith reminds me of that.
Yeah. You know, you can't have both of those things, right? So you're left navigating life, realizing that, you know, somebody's going to be disappointed in you no matter what you choose. You know, and
man, that hits deep. As a man, I resonate that. I think that I always feel like I'm letting someone down for just something I'm having to do for me.
And so maybe some of manhood is learning to, you know, as you decide what it is to be a man and to live this life, you know, you set yourself on a course and you realize that some people are going to be disappointed, but what has changed is you're no longer allowing people to steer the boat. You are the master of your own ship, you know. But that's a challenge. So for me, my kids, and you know, just those little stressors of work. Personally, as a man and a Christian man, I put a lot of emphasis on following what I learn in the Bible. And I can't speak for other people, just for myself, but I think we've all kind of experienced before individuals who appear to be really following, you know, Jesus, the Bible, and then you come and you find out, like, they were never, you know, their life is messed up. Number one, you know, they're people too, like that. That's one thing you learn, but it leaves this subtle, it implants this seed in every person that, oh, that's really what a Christian is. It's a pretender, you know.
Damn, that's hammer hitting nail on the head right there.
You know, so for me, like living authentic Christianity, like looking at the Bible and saying, okay, this is the way Jesus taught his people to live. And if I'm going to be one of his people, then I've got to do this. It's not never making mistakes, but it's also not compartmentalizing my life and being two different people. You know, like a coat that I put on when I step into a church building around church people, and then I take it off and I live somewhere like someone else, you know. So that's another one of my struggles. It's not in, you know, what the Bible calls sin, like making mistakes, because everybody does that. But not someday you coming to me, Jeff, and saying, you know what, JD, I've noticed that you're not really who you say you are.
That hurts when someone tells you that.
Yeah. And so I don't want to be that person, you know? So those are kind of like my top three, I guess you would, like, vulnerable things.
I appreciate you letting us get behind that. I know Robo has something to go, but I want to follow up on an interesting thing you brought up. You brought about your kids and fatherhood. I've got a 17-year-old, 16-year-old, and a 13-year-old. So for me, it's like, all right, I got a lot out there. And I can tell you something. I think that because over time this country has got where there's a little less religion in it, the kids almost don't even have a clear moral compass anymore. And rather than getting some kind of influence that's good for them, now they're given phones at 8, 9, 10, 11, and they could get on YouTube and TikTok and see some idiot in the middle of a city talking some shit that don't even matter to this kid. And this kid starts going, oh, well, that's the moral compass I need to go by. And I struggle with that, my 13-year-old. My 13-year-old, swear to God, he thinks he's the most baddest gangster cartel member that there is out there. And I'm like, bro, you're weak, you're soft. But I then know what he's like looking at. I then know what he's surrounding himself with. And I do know that I did not raise him in a church. And I do know that my oldest son was. And my oldest son toes a better line than my youngest one. And I can't help but draw the comparison some that, like, damn, that was my mistake. You know what I mean? And I don't know, this is what the point of the series is, right? This is just something I've seen with the kids. And it makes me go, okay, we are now having more kids committing more violent crimes, and there's less repercussions because they don't fear anything. No, I mean, like it or not, my walk with God has been difficult. I will be open that. My book's open about it. I like what you said. You know, I can't be a coat. I have to be in my naked flesh at all times. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But I can't help but look back and say, man, when I was a kid, I did have a little bit of fear that I didn't want to go to